In this tutorial, we are going to talk about how to submit your portfolio for review and all the things you need to make sure that you've done and completed before you do that process. So we're going to pretend that this portfolio is complete and that we're ready to submit it for review. A couple things to keep in mind, and one is that please go by the way your associate dean has asked you to submit your portfolio. There are typically two ways that they would ask you to do it. One is just by sending your URL in an email to them and maybe to the members of your review committee. The other way you could do it is submitting it directly through Digication. The reason an associate dean might ask you to submit it directly through Digication is because by doing it that way, you actually are time stamping or date stamping your portfolio. So what that means is that if you submit it through Digication, it freezes the version of the portfolio that you submitted. It basically takes a snapshot of it the way it was when you submitted it. You can still continue to work on that portfolio and to edit it and make changes, but none of those changes will show up on the version you submitted. In order to submit your portfolio through Digication, also something else has to happen, and that is that your associate dean or your administrative assistant has to create a group for you to submit it to. So let me show you what I mean by that. If you are submitting your ePortfolio through Digication, let's say your associate dean has said, submit your portfolio through Digication by this day, what you would do is you would come up to the menu in the top right corner, the sandwich menu with the 3 lines and the arrow. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see where it says Submit to Assignment. So when I click on Submit to Assignment, you can see right now it says you do not currently have any active assignments. That's because my associate dean has not created an assignment for me to submit to, or a group for me to submit my assignment to. So if you're getting this message when you try to submit it this way, maybe double check with your associate dean and make sure that this is the proper way they want you to submit it through, or else let them know that there's nothing there for you to submit to. If they have created it, it will show up and it will have a screen here that will tell you what to submit it to, and then it's essentially you're just going to click on the portfolio you want to submit and then click a button to submit it. We have another tutorial that I will try to include as well that shows you that process a little bit better. And that's really the only steps you need to take for actually submitting your portfolio through Digication. If you are asked to submit your portfolio as a link, I can show you how to do that as well. So the other thing we need to do before we submit it either way is we need to make sure all of our pages are published. So as I mentioned earlier, I would just go to this Published Pages link here. Again, this is just off of that sandwich menu. And click on Published Pages, and then I would make sure that all of your pages are checked, or every page at least that you want them to be able to view is checked. And then you go ahead and click on that Publish button. It's just going to go ahead and republish your whole portfolio. It's just going to make sure it captures any little changes that you might have made and forgot to publish manually on your own. So now that that's all ready to go, the next thing I would recommend that you do is check your settings. So we're going to go back to the sandwich menu with a little down arrow, and we're going to click and we're going to go down to Settings. And once I'm on Settings, what I'm looking for is I want to make sure that my permissions and share settings are going to make it so that people can review this. Again, keep in mind that if you have it on Private to Me, no one else is going to be able to see that. So you want to either private within the college or public. Again, private in the college should be just fine. That means your associate dean, the people on your review committee, anybody else within the college should be able to still access your portfolio as long as they are logged into Digication and as long as you sent them your URL. So I'm going to make sure that it's set to private within the college, which it is. And then you can send them your URL in the same spot right here by going to the URL. And then I'm going to highlight this, including the blue part. Just don't grab the edit part here, but include the blue part in there. We're going to copy it, and then you can paste that in an email. Okay, we're going to save our settings. One other way that you can send them your link is this. I would recommend going to the welcome page, so you're on your front page. And then, again, we've already made sure that everything's published. So now we can go up here and look at our published view. And then I can just grab my URL right at the top of the page here, and I can copy that and send that in my email to my review committee. So here's a little fail-safe. As you're looking at the URL that you're sending here, you know it's the right one because it has the Digication address, has the name of your portfolio here, has the name of the page that you're currently on, and then it says it's published. So you know that that's the proper link. So if you're not grabbing it from the settings, make sure you grab it from up here when it's on the published view. And that will also allow them to see your portfolio. One other thing I just wanted to show you, another feature that we didn't talk about before, but just to make you aware that this is available. If we click on Get on the Sandwich menu in the top right corner, you'll notice there are a lot of other options. We won't go through all of these today, but a few I wanted to make you aware of. The first one is this delete right here. If you click on this delete and you confirm it by typing delete portfolio, it would delete your entire portfolio. So I would really strongly recommend against this. Unless you're deleting a portfolio you absolutely know you don't need. It was just maybe a test portfolio you were using. But be aware that you can have as many ePortfolios as you want. There's no limit on the amount you can have. So I would steer away from deleting your portfolios unless you really for sure know you're not going to use them again. You don't need them. I would also steer away from adding it as a template. That's something that typically I do on my end. You can create templates for your classes or anything else that you want, and it gets sent on to me and then I can approve it. But you don't want to create your professional portfolio into a template. Download is the feature you can use to download a copy of your entire portfolio. This will download it as a zip file. So you have that option if you want to. And then the make a copy is also a really nice feature because what you can do with this is you can completely duplicate your portfolio, and you could have maybe a public facing version of it and maybe a version that's a little more private that you just use for your rank and tenure process. Or maybe you want to make a copy of it and you want to have a version that you can share with your students, or maybe you want to have a version that you can share publicly or attach to your LinkedIn. And you could make a copy, and then you could take the copy and you could delete the pages you don't want to be public. So you might take out your goals or your letters of tenure, any of those things, but maybe still leave like your professional statement in or what you've done that year. So that's just a really nice feature and a nice way to be able to quickly have a copy of it that maybe has a different purpose that it's serving. So that's all for now. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, emily.dibble@slcc.edu, or feel free to stop by one of our ePortfolio labs for any assistance. And good luck with your creating your portfolios.